Hi, welcome back to the Jack and Glenn channel. I'm Jackie.
And I'm her husband, Glenn.
He's my husband, Glenn. And can I say this real quick?
Go ahead.
I just took a moment to really look at that intro. God is good. I just want to say that.
I'm glad he is.
I had to be reminded of those interviews we did. God is good.
Before we get started, make sure you hit the subscribe button, hit the bell notification so you don't miss any of our reviews. Today we're going to talk about Married at First Sight. Season 16, episode number 5. It's all about the journey. The journey. It's all about the journey. So let's get it. Let's get it.
All right, who we starting with?
Let's start with Jasmine and Airris.
I said we ain't gotta start.
Oh, you don't want to start with them? All right, let's go.
Because they had their little conversation at the end.
Let's go with Dominique and McKinley.
Dominique and McKinley.
Dominique and McKinley.
All right,
let's get started.
So we see them getting breakfast to start, talking about how the first night was. The first night was great. She said it's her first time out of the country.
Yeah.
And you know, they're outdoors and, you know, it feels like paradise. They love in Jamaica. And she said she feels like she's in a Pantene commercial because there's an outside shower there.
Yeah. So
she feels like she's in a Pantene commercial when she washed her hair. And he was like, you know, we had a good first night. You're not a crazy, loud, outrageous sleeper. You know, they had their night cuddles, their morning cuddles, which makes me think about that video we just saw. Listen, y'all know you're not cuddling all night. So I'm glad they said morning and night.
Yeah, because you're not going to cuddle and stay.
Because after a while, you just want to sleep.
After a while,
okay?
Yeah, you want your freedom in the bed.
You want to roll over and get in your comfortable position because cuddling is not necessarily comfortable.
Yeah.
Anyway, and so they say, you know, this is the, McKinley says it's his best case scenario. You know, if they're together, it's going to be great. And we see their, obviously it's a honeymoon, so they all go have a little adventure or whatever. For them, it was, they went on a sailboat. And I thought it was so funny because they thought they were going to go out there by themselves. Now, you know, on them people resort, you're not going nowhere by yourself. Somebody's going to be there to help you. They was like surprised the guy came like, oh, you going to be steering the boat? And she was like, well, that's good because I don't really trust McKinley to do that anyway.
No, water ain't, you know, when you're on your honeymoon, you want to come back, right? You don't want to be on your honeymoon and not come back. So you want to be able to do some things. So you got to have some safety measures put in place.
Yeah, so yeah. Stedman is driving them on the boat.
Oh, you know, I thought you was joking, but the man's name was Stedman.
Right. Which made me wonder, how is Stedman doing? I don't know. I need to find out how Stedman's doing.
He's doing well.
You know, the Stedman. Oprah Stedman. But anyway, she notices that McKinley is very vocal about being nervous about stuff and everything, you know, and that she noticed he's less adventurous than her. But she also kind of knows that, you know, he's still willing to do it. He's a little less adventurous.
She a tomboy. I mean, she was never sheltered. Her mom always, they were outdoor. They grew up doing outdoor stuff, right? She know how to hunt. She know how to fish. She know how to shoot guns. She know how to do all that stuff. So that stuff doesn't scare her. Right? McKinley is from Michigan, I believe, right? Yeah, from Michigan. Not saying they don't do all that stuff in Michigan. I don't know what part of Michigan he said he's from.
I take it he's not from the part of Michigan where they do that.
Yeah, he's not from the part of Michigan where they do that stuff at. So, that's not his cup of tea.
No. But we see the opening is day 4 of marriage. And this day, they're having their dinner. And so, you know, they wake up, today's going to be fun, you know, the weather's great, and so the next thing we do is we see them going to dinner, and the funny thing, she put one of those catwalk shenanigans, you know how some of them models be walking down, and they're not used to them heels, so either little man got her and pulled on her heel, that the cobblestone got her, or the heel got her. But
no, the heel got her. You didn't see her trip? She was like, oh.
Her little ankle gave out.
The cobblestone got her, man.
And her ankle gave out. He was like, you okay? You know, he joked about that a little bit later. But they talked about how sailing was fun. And he was a little apprehensive. And he acknowledged that he needs that push. And she's going to be that one to give her that push. And he says, you know, I want to go deep sea fishing with you. And she asked him, am I gonna have to bait your hook? And he was like,
probably.
No, you ain't gonna have to bait my hook
He ain't speak
Look,
with confidence.
You ain't gonna have to bait my hook.
Right, yeah, he ain't speak with a whole bunch. He ain't speak with a whole bunch of confidence. You know what I'm saying? So it has to be something that look. At least you can bait your hook. If you're gonna fish, you can put your own worm on the hook.
Yeah, and this after he joked about, oh, I made the table. Oh, look, I caught the food that we're eating, and they just prepared it. And oh, I made this too. She's like, oh, you did all that.
She looked at him like, you're an idiot.
Uh-huh.
She did. She looked at him like, you the idiot. Like, can you shut up?
But I think she looked at him like, you so silly.
Yeah.
You know, I caught the lobster and shrimp, and I waxed the candle, and I had them put everything together. And she says, you know, he's trying to be funny, but she said she did like the fact that his actions right now are speaking louder than words. And that's what she asked for. You know, he acknowledged in his vignette, you know, I goof around a lot, but I think she you know, right now she's grounded me.
Yeah.
And she said at the table, she says, I don't think I could have asked for a better match. And, you know, he's on the right track. So he was like, so am I your dream? You know, your dream mate? She was like, I mean, for right now, yeah.
I don't know. He seemed needy.
I don't think so.
If you gotta ask the person, like, am I your dream? I mean, you try to be funny, but at the same time, there's some truth into that. It's
I think that's his nerves.
Or you need some affirmation.
But I think it's his nerves. You know, sometimes people make little jokes like that because they're nervous. I think he's nervous. They go to the pool together at night, get kind of hot and steamy in the pool. They have dessert by the pool, heart-shaped desserts. And he says, you know, things are going great. They're building that rapport. And he was like, you know, somewhat of a sexual connection. She's in her bathing suit. Her boobs are looking awesome. Yeah, I'm a boob man. He said that several times.
He is a boob man. Look, if y'all don't know anything else about this show, McKinley is a boob man.
He's a boob man. And he was like, her boobs are looking good. They're screaming at me. No, they're screaming at you because you're a boob man. If you're a booty man, the booty gonna scream at you.
Eyes up, sir. Eyes up.
If you're a leg, but he ain't got to put his eyes up. If you're a leg man, the legs gonna scream at you. You know. But he says his eyes are drawn to the boobs and her smile. So you just look up a little bit.
Which one first?
Boob smile.
He go boob smile, right? Not smile boobs.
He might do smile boobs sometimes. You never know.
He go boob smile.
And he says, jokingly again, oh, you trying to get to me? No, I will not have sex with you in this pool, ma'am. I will not. I'm a gentleman. And she was like, he thinks he's so funny. In her video, he thinks he's so funny. Nah. Well, I guess he is kind of funny. And so, like I said, we see him
subliminal thinking. Subliminal thinking and wishful thinking.
We see him get kind of hot and steamy in the pool. I was like, okay.
Don't let him fool you. He wanted the sex in the pool.
Of course he did.
If she was willing to give it.
Of course
he wanted to test the boundaries.
Of course. Oh, okay. Of course, but she not gonna do that.
She a lady.
She not gonna do that. So that's really it with McKinley and Dominique. They had a nice little start to the honeymoon.
A lot of these couples in this episode, and it really wasn't. It's not really much. I don't want to say drama because you know we look for drama. It's not really much.
Which that's good because we know Married at First Sight. It start off calm seas, you know, cool run-ins. And then, because in Jamaica, you get it? Cool run-ins, Jamaica. But anyway.
If you got to explain the joke, then ain't nobody.
Next couple, we'll have to, now I know.
I know, right?
Now I know.
Y'all know. We live doing this.
I know.
You know. When you put a sign on the door say recording quiet, you still have people that want to come in the room while you recording.
Janae wanted me to...
We got you. We got you.
Because Janae told me to come in.
Alright. So, it's so when you...
Gotta love your children.
Gotta love your children.
Okay, next. So, let's talk about Nicole and Chris.
Mm-hmm. Yep, Nicole and Chris.
So, they talked about how they had a nice talk last night, and, you know, they had a nice vulnerable talk, and she says, you know, I'm trying to forget the bad memories and make new memories, and they like having the tough convos first. You know, they get that out the way, and then they can go from there. She says, you know, when I get to D-Day, Decision Day, I'm shortening it, not in a bad way. When they get to D-Day, you know, she said, I want to confidently know him in order to make my decision. So we're going to talk about, you know, my scars and trauma and, you know, get that out the way so we can build from there. And he said, you know, I could see myself falling for her. You know, I'm enjoying the moment. He said, I'm not there yet. But I can see it, you know.
She's starting to force it too. You know, even when it was at dinner, like, can you tell me you love me? Oh, she hit the, what's that, the iris. I'm a virgin. Yo, what is that? What?
I don't know.
I don't know what that is. But she hit the Iris, and I was like, oh, I'm like, this is a married first sight thing. Iris did it too, but again, she's pushing it, and because I think she really likes him, and I think she's falling head over heels for him. But she could also kind of pump her brakes just a little bit.
Yeah.
She's really, I don't want to say, she's not aggressive, but she's all in. She's into the process. I'm gonna tell you, she's into the process. I'm not gonna say she's aggressive, but she's really diving into the process. So
I almost kind of feel like she's trying to catch him, slip him too. When she thought, when she's saying stuff like that, I think she's trying to, because again, he's so nice, it's going so good, like she's looking for something to be wrong.
But his family and everybody else said he is that nice guy. You know what I'm saying? That he is the guy that everybody wants to see, or the guy he doesn't like hurting people's feelings. He's the guy.
Don't you just love when people tell you stuff you already know?
Right.
So they go rum tasting.
She got tipsy.
Oh man.
She like
everybody in the club getting tipsy. Everybody in Jamaica getting tipsy.
She's like, I normally don't do this, but what? I had too many rums, but I can taste it and I can feel it, but she got a little drunk. I mean, it was good. It was good. Of course, you're in Jamaica, right? You're gonna taste a little bit of rum. You're gonna, that ain't the other thing you do in Jamaica. But you're in Jamaica. You're gonna taste some rum. You gonna have some good times, and they're gonna get to know each other. So that's what Chris and what was her name?
Nicole.
I keep forgetting her name.
I thought you was Nicole.
Nicole. I forget her name. I want to call her something else because you always say she reminds you of our son's girlfriend. So I always want to call her by her name, but it's Nicole. It's Nicole.
It's Nicole. Yeah, but she said she thought it would be a few more days before he saw her get slizzard.
Right, because she talked about her two personalities. Not her two personalities. She talked about how she was when she was 25, or how she was younger, and how she was wild. Basically, she sold her wild oats, did everything she wanted to do, and she was way out there. Now she's calmed down, cool, and ready to settle down.
But yeah, she said she did a lot of drinking in a short amount of time.
Yeah.
And she says, I'm not normally a rum shot girl, but for now, she said, I'm living my best life, enjoying myself. He said he's impressed with how she downed them shots,
She's a small girl. She's a small girl, and she downed them, and she drank with the best of them.
She's a pro. She's like, I'm not drunk.
But she's Italian.
But I'm kind of drunk.
She's Italian too, so she might have been drinking for a minute. Not because anybody Italian.
And at the end, the rum guy showed them a few dance moves. I was like, okay.
Yeah.
I don't need no reminding.
I know. I don't need reminders for it.
But anyway, she explained that it brings her back to old Nicole. That's what she likes to call it. Old Nicole used to drink a lot. She was selfish, all about herself and living it up. And she talked again. Here we go. Like she said, I'm gonna give you the gory details, which this is not bad. But just letting you know who it is you're dealing with. Because side note, a lot of times we get involved with people and we don't know. You got to know who they used to be, because a lot of times when you're in a relationship, you didn't grow up with this person. Yeah. So you don't know that part of them. So you can put that into perspective. This is what this person's history is. This is the kind of stuff that formed them. And this is where they are now. If it's a change from before or, whatever it is. So,
but she's an open book, and I like that about her.
So she said, I started my growth journey at 28 into new Nicole. And he was like, I like it. And he explained for him, it takes a lot to frustrate me. Yeah. And, it doesn't bother her that she loses her cool. Because that's what she said, too. She was the type that she would lose her cool quick.
Hothead.
If you're drunk and living it up.
And you're an FBI.
I mean, that I expect you to lose your cool. You know what I'm saying? But she says, as long as she's not taking it out on him, she's fine.
She's fine.
Yeah. And he said in his vignette, like, I really could not have dealt with old Nicole. So I'm very glad I got new Nicole. And I hope old Nicole don't try to show up.
Yeah, I mean, he don't want to be frustrated. So he don't want to be frustrated, but he's enjoying her. She's enjoying him. I like them right now.
We see them go to their dinner, and he talks about how he's speechless at her dress. And we've seen that dress before. I feel like it's one of the dresses that she tried on. Something kind of similar.
Yeah.
But she says while they were outside, how the light is shining, and the light's all shining behind you. The light is saying, "You're my dream husband." And you think you falling in love with me? He was like, I mean, no.
At least he ain't lie.
I could get there, probably.
You know what the light was? All that rum coming up. The rum. She still had the effects of the rum.
They had another one of those tough, can be awkward conversations. Well, let's talk about kids. And she said, I grew up never wanting kids. Because I picture myself traveling and my career and everything. She says, but I am open to kids, but I'm not dying to have them. And he ran it down. I always envisioned myself with kids. Yes. I figured I have
2 or 3 kids.
2 or 3 kids. This, that, and other. Like, he really thought about it, whereas she hadn't. And so that's an important conversation to have. I think I always feel like it's good to know, but sometimes that conversation be a little too quick when people get to that, because like I might want to find out if I even like you before we talk about having kids. And by the way, do you have any genetic predispositions in your family? Do you?
Yeah, somebody. Look, I like
a conversation me and my husband had. Yeah. That we found out later the response was not correct.
Like it is a mental.
3 children later.
It is some mental history in your family.
Right.
So it is some mental stuff going on, right? You got a couple uncles y'all don't go around. Oh,
and I do.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah. Not by our choice.
Yeah, not by our choice. Yes, but you do. Again, those conversations that you need to have, right? We talking about 4 kids, so I understand.
But he said they'll revisit that conversation in about a year or so. It's a lot to think about for her. And again, she had to consider her career. And he says, he acknowledges that's a decision we'll have to make together.
Yes.
So, they'll get there. Take your time.
Slow
young man, mama used to say, So that's where they are. I like, personally, Nicole and Chris are my favorite right now. And I know we're not that deep into the season. No. But they're my favorites right now. And like I told you, as a side note, and I ain't making no predictions, but I would be very surprised if they didn't stay together. I feel like something would have to be just like really wrong, because Chris is so nice and she's so wanting
to be married.
No, to be loved. Let's get beyond married. To be loved and to have someone to treat her right. I feel like it would have to really go off the rails, and I can't even imagine what would really make it go off the rails right now. Anything can happen, but that's how I feel about Nicole and Chris.
Yeah. I mean, I think they're good together right now.
I think this is pretty laid back too. Let's go to Shaquille and Kirsten.
What do you mean laid back? There's a lot of underlying stuff in this. Yeah,
but we're not going to get into that because somebody did a video by themselves without me about the underlying stuff. So we're not getting ready to talk about that now.
If y'all want to check it out, just find it and I'll link it below. I did do a video.
He did. So...
But sometimes when you create things...
We're not going to... No, sometimes when somebody else is working...
I'm working.
He better be lucky I don't know how to control this stuff myself.
I'm working. Just don't tell anybody.
I'm just saying. Anyway, okay. We see Shaquille and Kirsten finally get to Jamaica. And he talked about, it's a relief for him. School is finally over. He's feeling amazing. And even though she's in a hotel room, she did say, I was glad I was able to support you. And so he acknowledges, he said, I got a lot of making up time to do. But he did feel a sense of confidence with her, there supporting them. And she was like, I was glad to be there to support you. And so they finally get to Jamaica, and their little outing, they go ATV riding. Now,
she got more guts than he does.
But she is like the prissier version of Dominique.
Yeah.
So she does that outdoor stuff, I'm sure she didn't say it out if she said she goes fishing, but I'm sure she goes fishing and hunting.
She's adventurous.
She goes fishing and hunting, I'm sure, but she's adventurous. Him not so much, because he acknowledged being in a car accident is traumatizing. So I be trying to I go into self-preservation mode. I ain't gonna do nothing dangerous.
But he did relax and open up a little bit towards the end of the ride. So it was some things he got
after he started getting left. Now I said, now so who else did this? We seen Nate and Stasha. Somebody else did something like this too. Yeah. And
Woody, I think Woody did was together. It was like
I think that's what it was. But yeah, they go ATV riding, and she was like, you know, I'm used to this, and his first time, and so you know she understands he may be nervous, and like we said, she's way more adventurous than him. Again, he talked about the motor vehicle accident that his family was involved in, so he's driving very cautiously, and she is pushing at full throttle, and she said, I look back, and he way back there, he way back there.
Catch up, young fella.
But
catch up.
Shaquille not to be left alone. Like they get to this massive puddle. I don't know, what do you call it? It's not a puddle, but you know what I'm saying.
Body of water that you can cross.
Yeah, because it's not a lake or a stream or nothing, but it
might be a stream.
Nah, it looked like a a pool area. But anyway, she goes water everywhere. Too much water. Water everywhere. And he's like, he gets to it like, I think I can. I think I can. I can! And he goes through it, and I was like, yes! Go, Shaquille!
Like, was that your clapping moment? You just wanted to clap for him?
He goes through the water, and, you know, she's like, he took his time, but he did it. And so she sees him coming out of his shell, and she lets, while they're sitting there talking, she lets him put his arms around her, and I was like, okay.
She's opening up.
Feeling a little more comfortable. Now, he did let some little skeletons out the closet on after party when it come to that, but anyway.
Yeah, what he said was,
well, let's get to this part, though, because they sit in the tree chair and have a little conversation. She says she's exhausted, tired, and hungry, and asks about him going to the gym. He says, oh, I'm still going to the gym. I'm still going to the gym. And she was like, well, you can go on your own. And so that goes into a conversation. She said, you know, I enjoy myself out here. I'm not trying to take 10 pounds home. And he was like, oh, it won't bother me if you have 10 extra pounds because I'm attracted to, he says, I'm attracted to her. And he shares, you know, I still got kind of butterflies. Like when I first saw you coming in the aisle, I was like, oh my gosh, like, you know, she's beautiful. And she was like, even first thing in the morning when I don't have no makeup on and stuff like that, he was like, that's when I like you the most. Cause she's a pretty girl, makeup or no makeup.
Very pretty girl.
And so he said, you know, she said he's definitely growing on her. And she says, she acknowledged she wasn't attracted to him at first, you know, and the bald head, it was not feeling the bald head.
Not at all.
And she said, he says, you know, I think she actually likes my bald head because she be, you know, putting her hands on it. She be rubbing it. She be rubbing my bald head. So I think she really likes it.
Again, sending mixed signals. Whether you like them, do you like them, or you don't like them, or you don't know if you like them, or is that this is her way?
Because it's this part.
Right, or is it her way of trying? You know, what is it her, or is it like he said on the after party? It might be because the camera's on. Because sometimes he says she only get affectionate and when the camera's on.
He alluded to the fact that this conversation that I'm about to say, she had when the camera's on, but she told him something else when the cameras weren't on. I was like, I don't think you're supposed to say that on an after party, bro.
I don't know. Y'all, look, check it out. I'm not swayed either way. I kind of say, I mean, I'm not saying he's lying. I'm not saying she's telling the truth. But you can see where she's, I don't want to say slow walking. She's slow talking here. That she's doing enough so she doesn't get a, to look bad on camera. Yeah, because she's like, you know,
she asks, are you ever afraid to kiss me at times? And, you know, because, you know, I know you think I'm beautiful. And, you know, we kind of talked about intimacy. And she said, I'm not really a good kisser. So I don't like to kiss much. Yeah. And, you know, how does that make you feel? He was like, I'm patient. I'll wait on the connection and the chemistry. That's fine. Take your time. And she said, patience will help. You know, she said, I like when you kiss me on my forehead. I think it's sweet. And he feels like it's a push-off sometimes. Yes, he acknowledged, I do feel like it's a push-off sometimes. But now you explained to me that you're not that much, you don't like to kiss that much. You feel like I'm not a good kisser. And the conversation I had with my husband, like, when people say, when you say I'm not a good kisser, I'm like, so are you one of them awkward teenage movie kissers? You just licking all over somebody's face? Because, like, it's hard to be a bad kisser unless you just doing stupid stuff that you seen somebody do.
I was like, dude just asking for a peck, right? So
you can't mess a peck up.
How you mess a peck up?
That's what I'm saying. You cannot mess a peck up. If you messing a peck up, then it's because your lips are dry.
Or they too wet.
Or cracked. Or, maybe too wet. But
yeah.
Anyway.
You can't mess a peck up.
He acknowledged he felt like it's a push off. But she said, it's not you, it's me. It's me. She said I could be very affectionate. But, again, I've never been big into kissing. And so, if you
Isn't that what people say when they break up with you? It's not you, it's me. It's not you, it's me.
Take baby steps for her. The physical touch is a big thing for her. And so she likes that better than kissing with him holding her hands. And that's why she leans across him and, she lets him lean on her and put his arms around. So she likes that.
And like when he kisses on the forehead, friend zone.
Mm-hmm.
When you kiss somebody on the forehead, that's friend zone.
Sometimes. But anyway, they have dinner together, and he was like, "Oh, you look beautiful," and she was like, "You do too." He was like, "I look beautiful." She was like, "You look handsome." You know what I'm trying to say.
She giving him just enough, so he don't go start looking at somebody else.
Yeah,
just enough. She's stringing him along. She's stringing him along. She's gonna string him along for 8 weeks. I dare not say. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say this: that in 8 weeks, Shaq still wouldn't have gotten any cakes, draws.
But you're probably right. And honestly, I'm surprised more couples don't go like that because, it's not a requirement.
It's not a requirement.
And it might be some people there that in a regular relationship, they would wait 6 months. So in 8 weeks, they definitely not going to do it, But anyway, he said he wants to talk about her while they're at dinner, hope her open up some. And, she said she's become in the last few years, maybe the pandemic had something to do with it. I've been more closed off to myself. And, I need you to continue to help me be emotionally connected and support, support her. He says, I want to be intentional. I want you to be so intentional with me. And you be intentional with yourself. And he goes into like mentor. He said, be intentional about yourself. He talks about working with his mentees and seeing how they grow and how can I support you and how can I help you, be intentional about yourself and come out. She was like, now look, just, can you just naturally talk to me?
Yeah, don't talk.
Don't present your thoughts. Again, I'm not one of your mentees. I don't need mentoring. I don't need you to counsel me, but, just talk to me. Don't try to be perfect, and don't do that. He said, you're right. I do talk. Yeah. I'm trying to think how to respond, so I'm going to do a better job of that, and, just enjoy ourselves and just talk.
And that's what he's supposed to do, man. As a man, you're supposed to, he listened that time to what she wants, her needs, and he's willing to provide that. So I'm not mad at him. And I'm glad she was able to communicate that while they're in the honeymoon so it don't get to like week 5 and you still saying the same thing. Mm-hmm. Jasmine from a couple seasons ago. Mm-hmm.
So we're on to Clint and Gina.
Yep.
And we see their excursion. I guess they're going on a waterfall excursion. And it takes them 1.5 hours to get there. The driver on the tour, I have never, ever... He asked for directions 4 to 5 times. It must be his first day on the job. He don't know his way around the island. No, thank you. They got detoured. They said it's a storm brewing out there, but they finally got there. They hope to see a waterfall. And as they're riding, they're holding on for dear life. But
they know like I know. And you get a tour guide in Jamaica or these islands, and you go outside of the resort. It might be your last time at the resort.
Especially if he don't know where he's going.
Keep playing around in some of these islands and go outside where you're supposed to be at.
Uh-huh.
It's all right.
But they finally get to their destination, so they go hiking to see a waterfall. And she was like, she liked that he kept cool and composed. And, you know, because I feel like Gina would have really went off the deep end, like, what is your problem? But
she was cool though. I mean, even after the party, she talked about how cool, relaxed she is, and she really let things go, and he really complimented her multiple times how cool she is.
But yeah, so I can see how somebody made the comment that they're very similar. I think it was his sister-in-law made the comment. But you know, she says it's my first time in the jungle. He remarks he's part Tarzan. But she says she could tell by his complexion. LOL. She gets to that later. So they go in the water, and you know, she had a little bathing suit on. I was like, I didn't realize Gina had all that up under there, but okay. And so he was surprised at how calm and relaxed she was, and for her, she said, I've learned not to stress over things that she can't control. And he said, well, that's cool. I'm ready to see you in your boss lady mode. You know, maybe he can calm her down more and help her unstress is what she's looking forward to. You know, she said she's more structured and he's more free-spirited. And he says about her, she's adaptable to what's going on around. So, you know, in that respect, they're kind of feeling each other. But then later on, they go to a conversation, and I'm gonna jump ahead real quick. They go to eat in their room. It's like, okay, this is like extreme glamping. Yeah. You know, we sitting in here eating food in a bed in a fancy hotel room.
Which we come to find out, the reason they really kind of sat in their bedroom or not really doing too much is because their luggage was lost for like the first 3 days. Right. And they had to go buy all the stuff from like different shops.
So if you saw in the scene where she was pulling stuff out the bag, oh, I got this, I got that. So she didn't just go shopping. She had to go shopping because she ain't had nothing to wear.
Ain't nothing to wear.
Yeah. So she said she needs someone to be patient and supportive. She's not needy because she's always been very independent. But, and so she's never had someone that's a contributor. So that's like what she's looking for. And, you know, a lot of guys that she's dealt with have felt insecure because, again, she's independent. She goes after her dreams. And, you know, she just determined my picker's off. That's why I keep getting these guys. And, you know, she's got an admiration for him. So she said, you know, we're not quite there physically. Later on, she talks about the fact that she shares with him, I don't really do ginger guys. So, you know, that complexion, I'm not saying not attractive. And this is after they're out there with O'Dane comes to give them some drinks. He said, I'm here to get you drunk. I mean, get your drinks for you. So they had this conversation while they're drinking lightly. But you know, she shared that. Go ahead.
No, I'm not mad at her for being honest. I mean, I think sometimes when you, and especially on Married at First Sight, I love to see more people honest with their spouse or mate, or let you know, this is not normally what I do, but I'm going to trust the process. That's why, that's the way I look at her, what she was saying. She didn't say it like that, but I'm looking at her saying, okay, I don't do gingers and all this and other, but I am going to trust the process of the experts. I'm in this thing. And I know some of you guys want to look at the clip for next week where he talks about her being slender. I mean, you can say the same thing. I'm not really into...
She started it.
Yeah.
That's what I hate about that clip. I told you that. I was like, they tried to set it up like he just, you know, completely dissed her. Now, in that scene, which will be the next episode, he did do it in front of people. Difference is she didn't. That's the only difference. But she said the same thing.
I'm a whole judgment until I see the whole scene, because you know how Married at First Sight does to draw you in. Absolutely. So I want to see the whole conversation before I get to that whole thing. But again, we'll talk about that next week.
But she did touch on the fact that, you know, I'm going to see how you feel. I don't have an overwhelming feeling of physical chemistry, and she doesn't want to force anything. And he was like, you know, I'm feeling the same way. But I do see why the experts matched us. Yeah. And so they matched us for a reason. Let's go through with it and see how that goes. See, and that goes my point. Everybody focus on the ginger thing. She did go back and revisit that they did match us for a reason. That was him that said that. Him that saying that, but still, it realized he didn't take it. It hurt his ego. It hurt his ego, but he got past. I'm gonna say he got past it. So. But yeah, you know, they talk about affection and physical attraction growing over time. Yeah, it does happen. You know, when you're together, you know, it's about how somebody treats you, making you laugh and inspiring you. And he said, you know, I'm not disappointed at her verbalizing that early on. You know, at least I know where you stand, you know, but we're married and we're committed to this. And so we're going to go through whatever we got to go through to try to make it work. You know, they get along well. She says she's in it for the long haul. But again, that's where she says, I don't really vibe with gingery feature, redheads and gingery features. And he's like, mm-hmm. And she's, I'm not saying you're not attractive, you're just not my typical type. So
we'll see next week.
Yeah.
I'm gonna hold my judgment.
So last but not least, we're gonna talk about Jasmine and Airris, okay?
The sex man.
Last but not least.
Sex fiend.
Oh my gosh, okay. That didn't you do something about that too? Don't look again. Keep that for we look.
All right.
Watch that. He did that by himself too. But
yeah,
anyway,
watch that video.
Watch that. He gets them breakfast. They have mimosas. He remarks about the fact that now did he say he doesn't eat any meat or he doesn't eat pork?
I don't think he eat pork.
Cause I felt like he said no meat. But anyway, so she has bacon.
Lobster's meat though.
Well, yeah, maybe he's pescatarian. Like I don't eat meat like that. But so he remarks about her eating bacon. Oh, you had bacon the other day. How often do you eat bacon? And she was like, maybe like 50% of the time. And he was like, yeah.
He's not a swine lover. He don't like that swine.
But he said bacon was one of my favorite things, so I like to smell it. So he did sniff it.
Yeah.
You know, get a whiff of it before.
Maybe Muslim now.
I don't. Muslim here claiming that you're Muslim, sleeping with your gins. Yeah. Okay. It don't matter. Nobody. Anyway, he talked about they talked about previous relationships. He said in his previous relationships, you know, he think it was timing. 80% of him is why it didn't work. You know, if he was more mature, it probably would have worked out because he let little things be like, nah, you know, and you know, he was like, forget it. And so that is a maturity thing. You gotta grow up. You gotta let little. I know they had a song, "Little Things Mean a Lot," but they meant little gestures, not the little things people do. You have to get over people's idiosyncrasies and you know that kind of stuff. But anyway, was you about to say something?
Oh no, you good.
Okay.
You roll.
She said, "Well, all her previous relationships, like you, I walked away." She said, "But I didn't give all of me. I'm a workaholic." You know, and she said, I realized that I have to scale back. I'm gonna have to scale back some of the time. My husband don't like pork bacon. Now he like turkey bacon. Throw that in there. But I do have some pork bacon in my refrigerator right now. My kids, they call it real bacon. I want some real bacon. But anyway, you know, she says, you know, I have to scale back this time as far as her working. And he says, I'm willing to help you with that. I can get food for your mom. We know her mom had a cancer diagnosis. She's going through chemo and everything. So I'll help get food for your mom while she's at the hospital, or walk your 20 dogs. It's not 20, but 13. It's plenty.
It's 13.
Walk your dogs. And she liked that. That, you know, he was willing to help out. Yeah. He even joked, you know, your mom and dad love me.
They love me.
You know, I'm already going to be the favorite uncle. So just let me do that. But she says, you know, sometimes dealing with all of that, it does put me in shutdown mode. And I don't really show that my vulnerable side.
Yeah, she's hurting.
You know, she's used to having that help. And she hopes that he'll, she says she's not used to having that help.
Right.
So she hopes that he'll stay true to what he's doing. And I think to me Airris comes off like he's a helpful type person. Like he will,
but it gotta be a fine line. That can't determine your relationship, right? Because you can't do it so much in your relationship that the time where you get tired she's expecting you to do. So it has to be a balance in the relationship. So he has to be careful here because y'all are getting to know each other. Mm-hmm. You can't be so much in tune with the family that you don't get to know her.
And I'm gonna speed this along because I know somebody gonna have a hissy fit. I'm just gonna say. But anyway, so they go snorkeling and she's like, oh, my husband's distracting me because he's in the water with no shirt on. I was like, honey, he ain't been wearing no shirt. Me and you had that conversation. Like, he don't sleep with no shirt on. He probably is the type that would sleep naked, but he ain't naked because you're on a reality show.
Right.
But, yeah. Oh, my husband's distracting me in the water. He looks good without a shirt on. He was struggling because of the mask. Water's getting in his beard and not fitting well, so she helped him out. Yeah. You know, I don't want my husband to drown while we're on vacation. or you don't have an issue.
Not unless he signed that life insurance policy.
They have dinner on the beach, and she was like, you know, you want to taste some of my lobster? Like you said, she's like giving him a taste, and he ate the whole thing. She was like, you just going to eat the whole thing.
Rude.
Okay.
That's
eat the whole piece of lobster.
Selfishness and rude. You don't do that. When somebody offer you something, you don't eat the whole thing.
Just take a bite.
You take a bite. That's rude.
Or you let them say, go ahead, you can have the rest.
You can have the rest.
So she's like, is there anything you want to know about me? Now, this is the time where we can have, you know, a for real conversation. So, you know, what? Is there anything you want to know about me? I want to know what your favorite sexual position is. She's like, God, dog.
Not on national TV.
But how about, no, not even that. Out of all the things you could ask me, anything in the world, that's what you go to? Bye to the streets. But he ain't say bye to the sheets.
No. Oh, I see what you did there. No. He liked the
My
sheets.
name is Peaches. Oh, it's
Yeah, don't be fooled. She got bars, y'all. I might get, if I could one day get her hair wrapped, she got bars. She can go. She can fly. She good.
And she's like, oh, wow. No, you didn't. She's in shock, and he kind of smirks, and she's like, I'm going to plead the fifth. He says, okay, we'll tone it down a little bit. But what's your favorite color? She says lavender. Well, you know, I heard that people that like lavender, their favorite position is downward facing dog. And she's like, good Lord, again? He was like, I mean, it's true. It's true fact from my years and years of research, you know, hoeing around. Yeah. I got years of research.
Hey, look. Hoeing around was what he was doing. All day long.
Right.
That's what he likes to do. Again, he said bye to this. Like he said, he wants sex. He was trying to get sex. He was trying to see how far he can go, and he was doing it into me as an immature way. Mm-hmm. And it's a way you can do it, and the way you bring in the conversation without being overboard. So. Yeah,
he said, I understand. My wife is more reserved, but I'm gonna pull out that demon side of her. No, why I gotta be a demon side?
Why can't it just be sexual side?
Not the preacher's daughter.
Why I gotta be a demon?
But first of all, I do not appreciate the stereotype.
Oh.
Preacher's daughters is freaks. Like, he like, I'm gonna pull the freak out of her.
A couple preacher's daughters I know. I'm not saying no names.
He's talking about to pull the demon out of her. I was like, why I gotta be a demon? But anyway, he said,
she got sex demon.
He said, I'm gonna have to show her the way. I don't have a problem being her sex mentor. And, you know, why is it so taboo for her? And she was like, you know, I'm just a little more modest. And
she's not comfortable with that. I mean, and there's nothing wrong with that. But he goes back to his cousin, right? He wants what he wants when he wants it. He doesn't like the word no. And because he has a lady right now who's trying to keep herself, trying to get to know him, he's trying to push the issue to sex. Well, if you're not married now at 39 years old and all you've done is had sex, let's try something different.
Listen, homeboy said, and you know how people say, I can throw this in real quick. You know how people say chivalry's not dead? Well, ladylikeness is not dead either.
No.
I understand. I mean, we had this whole conversation. Somebody had made a post about something not being ladylike, and people's like going off. You trying to set back women's liberation? No, it's nothing wrong with being ladylike.
Nothing wrong.
That just not stuck up, snooty. You know, nothing like that. But why we can't be poised and she's a beauty queen. What do you expect? She's gonna be more modest. She carries herself differently, and there's nothing wrong with carrying yourself differently. I just have such an issue with that because I am a freaking lady.
I'm a lady.
Like Samoa said, I'm a freaking lady. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing wrong with that.
I'm a lady.
Yeah, it's not, and was not nowhere near no lady. But anyway, but he says, you know, it's giving lady lady vibes, and I needed to give whore vibes.
Mm. You want to call? You got to take the message that he called his wife a whore.
What?
You called your wife a whore, and you want your wife to act like a whore. That's a problem.
In her vignette, she says, you know, I enjoy sex, but I need someone to help her enjoy it more, like her husband. She acknowledged, that'll help me out some, but like I just don't really want to do it. And he throws in there, he's like, I'm on demand. I'm at your service. I'm gonna help you out. I'm gonna help you out. You know, if you need some help, I'm gonna help you out. I'm like, Anyway, so next thing we see them throwing frisbees. They talk about how she's a lefty and he's not a lefty. She said everyone in her family's a lefty except her dad and youngest sister.
Yeah, you don't see that much.
she said, you know, my youngest sister's like my pride and joy. And this when he says, well, what if she gets closer to me as your husband? And what you gonna think about that? Again, I'm gonna be the favorite brother-in-law, be the favorite son-in-law.
I don't know how I took that. I can't remember how old his sister was.
Well, I didn't take it like that at all. You know, he just, I think he's just used to being people's favorite. Like
people like him.
Yeah, okay. And I can see why. But how much of that is
he fooled himself?
But how much of that is an act, and how much because we know you know, ladies, men, they can lay it on real thick. It don't matter who it is. If they trying to get with you, they gonna lay it on thick for your mom. They gonna lay it on thick for your sisters. So
he fooled himself, and he likes the attention because when you're the only child, well, get off the only child thing. Sometimes only children like the attention.
Mm-hmm. You know, he's talked about how he wanted to go hiking or whatever. The stars had kind of aligned for them to fit in perfectly. She said. They talked about, have you ever been in love before? She said, my last relationship, I was in love. And he said, red flag, red flag, red flag. He's never been in love before. I have loved someone, but I've never been head over heels in love. You are 39 years old.
He's never had that moment. Never met the right person.
I think they talked about this in a previous season with Derek. I think you've been in love. You just didn't realize you was in love.
Oh, you didn't call it that. Yeah.
And who else was waiting for butterflies?
Eric. I know it was Eric.
No, it wasn't Eric.
It was somebody else from last.
It was a guy.
It was a guy. Oh,
Ryan.
Ryan from Brett and Ryan.
It ain't always gonna be butterflies.
Butterflies in the sky.
It might just be you looking out the window.
I can go twice as high.
Trying to figure out where this person's at.
Yep.
And then you catch yourself like, why am I worried about where he at? I think I kind of like him.
Oh,
and I ended up marrying him.
That's our story.
But anyway,
what?
Yes. But she said in her vignette, she's processing, you know, knowing that he was in a 1.5-year relationship and couldn't fall in love. You know, I could never do that. I'm not going to stay nowhere where I'm not feeling like in love. And, you know, again, of course, the concern is he could possibly not fall in love with me. And, you know, it is weird. You know, I think it's weird for her. She says it's weird for her to give, you know, her some sort of pressure with the time frame. And, you know, that's just a concern. But the question is, does he have to be in love at the end of this to say yes? You know, he said he doesn't know the answer to that question. And if he's never been in love, it's hard to tell. It's hard to fall in love. Not saying it's impossible, but...
I think you can be in love. I think you can be... And as we wrap this up, I think you can be on Married at First Sight, not be in love, and still say yes on decision day.
Yes. I don't expect nobody to be in love in 8 weeks. I understand the process, but now, after the 8 weeks, after we agree to stay together and we do our, 3 more months, or, you know what I'm saying? Anything can happen then.
Anything can happen then. But that was this episode.
That's it.
But it seemed like it'll be fireworks next week, though.
Yes.
Fireworks next week on next week's episode of Married at First Sight.
This is what I'm getting ready to do. Since you like to do videos without me, I'm going to let you close it out without me.
I'm going to close it out without you. Here we go.
Yeah.
I can do this. She about to...
Well, you know.
Bye, y'all. She about to leave me so I can close it out. But as she closes it out, if you made it to this part of the video, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Make sure you hit that bell notification so you don't miss any more of our reviews. Also, check out the Married at First Sight panel. Whenever you watch this, our panel discussion will be coming back with Talisa Ray, August Love Story. So check us out on Sunday evenings. We will have our panel discussion back and ready to go. We wanted to wait till the honeymoons were halfway over, or all the weddings was over, and we can get to the honeymoons, get to the nitty gritty. So make sure you do that. Once again, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell notification so you miss any of our videos. Thank y'all for joining us. Keep watching us. Keep watching the extra videos. Again, you made it this far, hit the subscribe button, share with somebody else. Thanks for those that's in the chat. Appreciate you guys. Have a great one. Peace.